Hey everyone, I want to show you guys how I set up this Feyachi FL26. Okay, so this is a rifle light, and I want to set this thing up on an AR pistol. Now, AR pistols typically have a short rail, so basically you need a place to put the sling, you need a place to put your hand, so the space is very limited. Okay, so in the past, what I've done is I've used pistol lights, okay, and what I've done with the pistol lights is I just mounted them on the top rail, okay. So it works decently like that. The pistol light, even though let's say it might be 1,000 looms, it tends to not throw as far. A lot of times it tends to throw a little bit wider. But the big issue I had with this pistol light is the butterfly switch, because I would get a lot of accidental light discharges, right, just by hitting the butterfly switch, or it would catch on my clothes. Two bad things about that: number one, it can give away your position. Number two, like a lot of times, if you, let's say you're doing a magazine change and that butterfly switch catches something, it's gonna basically shine. Even if you're pointing the gun away, it's gonna, you're gonna lose your night vision. You might start seeing some spots. So I never loved it. It worked, but I never loved it. Now I have, let's say, other rifle lights like this Streamlight rifle light here. The issue that I had with this is that if let's say I mounted it someplace over here, right? What happened is the tail sticks back a lot, okay? Because this mount is permanently fixed to the body of the light, so I can't like bring this back at all. So I would mount this over here, and now the tail is basically sticking where it is basically hanging out over where I want to put my fingers, right? So that's the thing I didn't like. I do have like an M-lock rail to push this forward a little bit, but it still kind of sticks out in the back, right? Just because there's just a lot hanging out here from the tail. And usually when I push it forward, like I prefer to kind of raise it up a little bit, maybe. So one of the things I liked about this Feyachi FL26, right, where I saw it in the pictures, is that it comes with a very adjustable mount, right? Because you can, there's actually two pieces to this mount. I showed this in the prior video I did on this, where I did an unboxing. So there's actually two pieces here, and you can remove the light completely from the mount, in which case you just have a tube light. That's not something I can do with this light, okay? This mount is permanently fixed to the body of the light, so I can't do this. So this is, if you stick this in your pocket, this is gonna like stab you and stuff, okay? So with this one, because you can remove it, what that also means is you got a little bit of play here as far as how front or back you can slide this. So I have the light slided as far forward as I can, which gives, basically takes up less space on the back end here. So now I have a spot here, to put my fingers, okay, and I can activate the light with my thumb, okay. Now this does come with a pressure pad, and here's the thing with the pressure. Once you start running pressure pads, now you're zip tying down wires. There's just more work involved with that, and basically, if I'm going to do that, I want to be sure that, hey, this rifle is going to be a night shooting rifle, because not all of my rifles are like dedicated night shooting rifles. Some of them I just want to keep a little bit lighter. So the benefit of not running zip ties and not using pressure pads is that I can a lot more easily take this off and put it back on when I need it. So the mount is two pieces, right? Because you've got this one piece here. I showed it in the last video. So this piece can attach directly to the rail, in which case it would be a little further back. And then there's another piece here that comes with it that pushes it forward, okay? And that's what allows me to, I can grip the rifle over here and then just work my thumb like this, okay? So I did also try putting this on a 16-inch AR. It ended up being a little too far forward for me, so I'm like, okay, with this I'd have to use the pressure pad to bring it back a little bit. And if I'm going to use a pressure pad, then what I would do is I would just put it on the other side, too, basically. So there would be, if I'm right-handed, there would be less interference with my hand. So in this case, since I don't want to use the pressure pad, right, at least not today, right, I want to test it out like this, I need it to be on the left side so I can access it, you know, with my, with my hand over here, okay? So, and I need it to be far enough forward so that it did not interfere. So this is a very good mounting solution, okay? And like I said, there's two pieces here, right? There's the piece that goes around the light that you could actually put directly on the rail, right? Because because this is M-lock over here, and then there's a piece that pushes this forward. So basically, you've got two M-lock pieces here. So I've used the extension, right? Let's call it that, the extension. So I got the light is attached to the mount, and then the mount is attached to the forward extension. And on this 10-inch AR, it only sticks out about an inch. So basically, I'm at 11 inches, so this isn't bad. So this works reasonably well. Okay, this is very satisfactory as far as the results that I was looking for, as far as like being able to mount the light and keep it out of my way and being able to access it. Now, I covered this in the last video. Basically, when you're working it like this, there's two buttons over here. Okay, so the round button over there, which you push forward, or you push in, that's your low and your medium setting. Okay, and so from there it'll go to medium setting, off, low setting, off, medium setting. Okay, so you got to push it every time, and then you got another button over here. So you got two buttons over here, right? All right. So that button that's off on the side there. Now that one you got to hold down for like a second. If you hold that down for a second, right, you get the high setting. Okay, and then you just push it once. I mean, you can get it off. It takes a second to get it on. Okay, like you got to push down on it for like a second. You give it constant pressure, and then you push it, and it'll quickly come off. And I think that the reason why you would want this is to minimize the negligent light discharge, because the way this is set up right now, like you really got to push your finger in the buttons. Like the round button, yeah, you got to dig your finger in there a little bit in order to activate it. And the other one for the high beam setting, I mean, you got to hold it down for a second, okay? And then you got the flicky thing. The blinky thing I do not like on lights. On my Streamlight lights, I am able to program it out, because here's the thing: when you're doing night shooting, right? What you want is consistency. What you want is, when you hit a button, right, anywhere on the gun, you want to get the expected results. So a lot of times with the flashy light things that a lot of different tactical lights have, is what I find is that I'm looking for a solid beam, and because I don't hit it the right way, I start getting the flicky blinky thing. And the idea behind that is that it can disorient your opponent, right? However, if you're not expecting that, if you're not, that's not what you were looking for, and if you receive unexpected results, right? Now all of a sudden that is a distraction to yourself. Okay, so I've been working with this. I mean, for the most part, I don't get that blinky too often. Okay, most of the time I'm able to just go straight to the light, get it off. Okay, and I always go to the high beam. Okay, I'm not going to use the low and the medium beam when I'm shooting a gun. Okay. Now again, the idea with this is that this light is removable, so I think they tried to make it flexible that you can remove it, and if you're, because a lot of times you may not want to have this gigantic beam. Okay. So I think that's the way I would use this on the rifle, is like if I drop something or if I'm going upstairs, I would press the button, right, so I don't get like the high beam. I would want the low beam so I can see what, so I can watch myself going up the stairs. I can watch my feet and go up the stairs or something. Or if I drop something like a magazine, I can see where it is. So that's how I think that might be useful on a tactical light. But as far as shooting, I'm going to be just using the high beam. Okay, so basically the gun, the light's going to either be off, and when I want to shoot, press the high beam, right? Put it on, okay? do my shooting, bang, 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 and then immediately turn it off and move to a different position because, you know, all the bullets are going to be going to wherever the light was last. Okay, so the good thing is that you can get the light off pretty quickly on this, and it takes a second to get it on, so it's less likely that you're going to get a negligent light discharge. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to wait for it to get a little bit darker. I'm going to go into my office and do a little bit of a workout. Okay, basically we'll come out later and we'll test it out. We're going to see how far we can see with this light. Okay. All right, everyone. We're going to be testing out the Feyachi Rifle Light. Okay, so it's pretty dark now. I do have the camera light on so that you guys can kind of see me, but it's pretty weak. It doesn't throw, you know, it doesn't go much past maybe about 20, maybe 30 feet. Okay, so by the way, I did charge this. I'm making sure this thing has a full charge. Okay, so using full blast. Okay. Okay, that's 10 yards. That's 30 yards. $50 yards. 65 yards. 75 yards. And I can make out my target at 100 yards. Like at 100 yards, my target, which basically is the same as these targets right here that you see. Right, it's the same as that. Right, red with the white stripe going through it, same size. It's about 1 foot by 2 foot. So at 100 yards, like I can barely see it. Like if I didn't know it was there, I wouldn't be able to identify it. Okay, but let's try this again. Yeah, 50 yards I can definitely identify. 65 yards I can identify. I mean, I think 65 yards is probably the max realistic, especially out here in this scenario, like in the woods. Because if you're in open field, you're probably going to see a little bit more. When you're in the woods, the trees cast shadows and stuff like that. So this is a 2000 lumen light. I just charged it before I did this video. I checked the charge, made sure it was full. So that's realistically what you're going to get out of this. 50, 65 yards, okay? You'll see something at 75 yards, but at 75 yards, there's definitely a degradation as far as what you can see. Let's try this again at 75 yards. 75 yards. I mean, at 75 yards, you pretty much got to know what you're looking for. Okay, so 50 yards is, yeah, you can definitely work at 50 yards. Now, that's using the max. I'm maxing it out. Let's try the lower settings, okay? Okay, so that's the low setting right there. 30 yards is like the absolute max. I mean, this is basically for about 10 yards, okay? Okay, that's the medium setting. Medium setting, yeah, you can get to 30 yards. 50 yards in the medium setting is struggle. That's what you can kind of use indoors. Okay, that's the button that's in the center of the back plate, right here, right. That's the button that's in the center, and then for maxing it out, right, you use that other switch that's on the side here. Okay. All right, let's take a couple. So try this again. Okay, so one of the things I have to kind of get used to is there's a slight delay. Like when I put max blast, you have to hold it down for that 1 second. I mean, I do wish that I could, I wish I could get it to go on a little bit faster, but yeah, you got to hold it down for a second to get the max light. Let's do this again. So ideally, you want to basically shoot and move. Let me turn off the camera light. All right, so camera light's off now. So as far as the low light settings, that's usable like what? Yeah, that's useful like if I want to go up the stairs or something, right? Because here I'm shining at my feet. Because you don't want to blast yourself. If you're just trying to go upstairs or something, I would even actually make a cover, like a blue tape cover, to make this even lower. I've done that on some of the other lights that I've done where I've created caps. That's a little bit too much, especially against the white snow. So I would definitely make a blue tape cap for this, for shining it at my feet. I'm gonna get a magnifier. I want to see with a magnifier what I can see at 100 yards. Hold on, let me pause this. All right, so what I did is I've got a magnifier on here. I want to see if I can get to the 100-yard target, which again looks just like this target over here. So let's see, at 100 yards. Right there. Yeah, I can make out the white stripe that's in it, but you know, I have to know what I'm looking for. Okay, like I gotta know that that's my target over there. You know, that's got the white stripe going through it. At 100 yards with this light, you know, the 2000 lumen light, you know, I mean that's like the absolute max limit, and that's if you know exactly what you're shooting at. Again, yeah, 75 yards I can see my target, but 65 yards. Yeah, 65 yards realistically is where I would, like, if I didn't know what I was, like 100% what I was shooting at, that's where I would set my limit at, 50 to 65 yards. Okay, so, I mean, that's just the reality. That's what it is. I mean, listen, this is a budget light, $50. All right, so for $50, it's the best $50 light that I got, okay?